In our politics lead, as we say goodbye to 2025, we're just 3 days away from the start of a new election year. Yes, I'm sure you're all saying in your heads right now, with control of Congress on the line and as presidential hopefuls maneuver for the post-Trump era. Let's bring back Republican strategist Rina Shah, Democratic strategist and Biden White House advisor Yemisi Egbewale. Okay, Rina, there's a news story in Axios about how J.D. Vance is kind of mapping out, plotting, if you will, for his 2028 run.
Right.
If you ask anybody in any of these camps, no, of course not. We'd never consider it. Do you think people are actually starting to map out what they're going to do for 2028 post-Trump?
Which people?
Republicans who are eyeing the potential to be the next up.
That's a tough question because right now the party is fractured a bit with the coalitions being what they are. I mean, MAGA and America First are no longer one and the same. So what you see the vice president doing is going out there trying to reconnect with state parties, earn goodwill on the road, do some grassroots politicking as one should in this moment, because I don't think the reports of the party fissures really coming to the surface are overblown. I actually think we'll see them get worse in the new year. And one thing that Vance has been clear about, which is interesting, is that he says he will have a sit down with Trump after the midterms. Why would you hit the road now? You're going to spend a whole year out there connecting. For what reason? Your guy is not going to be on the ballot again. Vance knows that. And I think it sits where it sits. He's got to keep the GOP majorities intact. I think he sees himself as pivotal in that. I think a great many people actually don't see him pivotal in that. I actually see him being iced out of the room right now. That's a tough one for him to overcome.
As a Democrat, you guys have never had fissures. It's always just a unified front.
Thank you.
But this idea that Vance is trying to not kind of get in the middle of it, not try and unify either side, just kind of step back and say like, hey, we should all be getting along here. Is that tenable over time if you want to run for president?
The thing about J.D. Vance is he never really picks a side. He just gets along and enjoys being in the room. Look, he booted Elon Musk out. He gets to be right next to the president. He's learned how to be dependable but not outshine Trump. But when you want to be the main guy, you kind of have to stand for something. And we saw at the Turning Point conference that there were different factions, but we saw J.D. Vance tend to the middle. And I mean, I know Erica Kirk has basically given him the de facto nomination, but he still has to earn a lot of people's trust, people who are a bit suspicious of his close ties to Silicon Valley, Peter Thiel, people that don't buy as much this rural Ohio story. I know you're an Ohio guy, so you can give your own opinion about that. But there are different factions that he will have to pull together. And I don't know if he inspires the same level of enthusiasm that a figure like Donald Trump does.
You touched on something interesting, though. It's the donor class, though, that I think is most nervous about him. If you go into the Midwest, people generally like him. I'm from next door, West Virginia. I did not like Hillbilly Elegy, I must say. I thought it was something that, well, from where I'm from, the South, as a girl raised in the South, you don't spit on the place you were born and raised from. And I think that's one thing about him, is that his inauthenticity doesn't really play too well with the donors. They think he's going to have a hard time with voters come past the midterms. But again, we can't talk about life after the midterms if we don't acknowledge reality right now. Right now, it's Hegseth who's by Trump's side right now, because Trump wants a strong man. He doesn't really see JD as one. So look at all these big conversations. Do we see JD there? No, we see Pete Hegseth there.
It'll be fascinating to watch play out. Okay, I got to ask you about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who has, what was that?
Bye.
It has been a journey, the last couple of months in particular. I don't think any of us at the start of this year would have figured we would have been in this point. But in particular, Robert Draper has a really great piece, a fantastic journalist at the New York Times, has a great piece out, a profile of her. She's set to resign from Congress 1 week from today, gave a very revealing interview where she says, quote, Trump called Greene, in the piece it says, Trump called Greene to voice his displeasure. Greene was in her Capitol Hill office, and according to a staff member, everyone in the suite of rooms could hear him yelling at her as she listened to him on the speakerphone. Greene says she expressed her perplexity over his intransigence. According to Greene, Trump replied, "My friends will get hurt." This was about the Epstein documents. And I think one of the things I'm trying to figure out is the Marjorie Taylor Greene story is one thing, but Trump and the Epstein documents and kind of how this has been allowed to live in perpetuity, it seems like over the course of the last several months, is just a political own goal that I haven't been able to get my head around on some level. Why?
I mean, why Marjorie Taylor Greene thought that President Trump was going to come forth and give her everything she wanted on the Epstein files when she knows the close relationship that the president did have. He hung out. He is a billionaire who hung out with the billionaire class. What she saw was a man in power who, for a very short minute, had the sun shine on her, and so therefore she ignored the toxicity that she was a foot soldier in pushing around Washington for years. And when the sun no longer shined on her, she decided that the president had to go and she couldn't be in alliance with him anymore. Well, we'll still talk about the Epstein files moving into 2026, but we simply won't talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I hope she does well making a podcast or building that YouTube channel that she's clearly trying to do right now.
I will put you down as skeptical in the transformation.
Skeptical of Marjorie Taylor Greene's moral compass.
What do you think, though, about kind of the transformation that we've seen?
This is a story that I think has taken on too many different lives. And in some of those lives, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a starring role, and now she will no longer. But the one thing I think will be most memorable about her is that she always said this was about the survivors. This was about the victims. And for whatever it's worth, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, I know there are many people out there who don't always agree with the other things that come out of those women's mouths, but they stood there with Massey and Khanna too. And let's not forget the people that actually said this is about the victims. They tried to take the veneer of this whole being an elites thing and really focusing on the women that were misused, abused, taken advantage of. And a lot of those kind of women come from districts like the one that Marjorie Taylor Greene represents. So I think it was personal to her. But I will say she's a woman who always tried to make 1 + 1 not equal 2. And then she started this year being a little bit more clear. I think she was trying to say, Trump, I've been loyal to you. You're a loyalty guy. Why haven't you been giving me what I need in return for my years of loyalty? And that's, I think, puts a bow on it. It's a bad relationship now because her loyalty to Trump meant nothing in the end.
Yeah. Your point about the survivors is the most important one that I try to remember every single day. Guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Well, a winter storm bearing down on millions of Americans tonight. This video from Buffalo, New York, where snow is meeting wind gusts up to 79 miles per hour. We're heading to the CNN Weather Center next for an update on the forecast. Stay with us.